Welcome, and thank you for clicking on my channel. We have seen a confirmation on the daily scale from the signal line from the RSI. We like that to cross through the center, though. Still pretty good confirmation there. We have confirmation with the price action closing below the 9-day moving average and the 5-day, and we see that the only thing left behind is the MACD, the MACD being the lagger of them. But we noticed in this area that the 2-hour curling up and the 2-hour coming down into one of these gaps to find support could be a way for us to head higher. So we need to get into some technical analysis. We need to go into those shorter time frames, and we need to discuss what is going on over here with the daily expected moves and volatility. So let's just hop right into it. As we look at the SPY and we shift this over to the 2-hour chart, do we see the 2-hour lower high? Do we see the 2-hour divergence yet? No, we don't. So even as it stands, we can see that in this area, if we want to head lower, we can still head to that upside. But if we want to head lower and set up the 2-hour lower high or divergence, that is what we would be watching for in this area. As we go lower into these type of prices, you start to look for things for a lower high on the 2-hour chart. Now, this was very, very good. Okay, like the thing is with this market so far, right? VIX and all the signals that we followed here, the most probable ones, they all got it right. They all got it right here. We all got it right here. They all got it right here. They got it right here. They got it right all the way to this extended move. And then in this area, they said, hey, we're going to shift up one more time. But the Qs were very fishy here. That being said, the most probable thing did not happen today. We actually saw a 5% moment in the market. Only 5% of the time are you going to see a move like that. Very, very cool. So we did put out the second standard deviation on Patreon, so hopefully you guys were able to utilize that information. For tomorrow, though, we have 681.28 to the upside. We have 669.20 to the downside. What do we need to figure out? We need to see if this 2-hour is going to be able to curl up while it's by that center line. So either you are going to need a sporadic move to take back this 5-day moving average, which is very rare to see below. As you just saw a volatile moment, it actually is a little bit rare to see, but instead you might need to set up reversal signals first. And that would now on the 30-minute chart be not reversal signals to head down, but you'd have to make reversal signals to head up. So something that I would be looking out for is, do you have divergence right now? No, you don't. So actually something very, very likely to happen here either today or going into tomorrow or the next day would be we are going to set up some kind of bounce. And that's why I would be paying attention to an upside like 681.28 because it comes perfectly in the center of this gap where those big sellers stepped in. So very, very critical level. So something that would be very nice for tomorrow if the 30-minute is able to curl up. We could see that leak out for a long time, able to go retest that 5-day moving average. And this is where you are looking for the potential roll. This is where you want to see big volatility to come in fast if you're looking for that crash and you don't want the 2-hour to make the next move higher. Instead, if you want to pay attention, though, to the bull side, well, then you would want to see this create some kind of divergence down by that weekly expected move by the end of the week. That would be a very good hint if you start to see these type of things on your MACD, that we are going to head back to the upside and see a 2-hour confirmation. The last time we saw something similar to this was up here. We called that this was going to pull down, and this could be the moment for the weekly pullback, you guys remember. But we quickly changed tune once we saw what? The higher low, and then especially the next higher low over here. But really right here, we said, okay, this is going to be a moment where the 2-hour bounces. You're going to look for something similar right over in this area, except this time it very likely could be a divergence in my opinion. So as it stands, that looks like the very, very good thing to pay attention to. I'll say it that way. The very good thing to pay attention to as far as getting a part of the next 2-hour move to the upside. But you have to make sure these things are confirming because the Qs yesterday were the fishy part, right? You probably heard me in my video yesterday going, I don't like the Qs. I don't like that they're not in this gap yet. I don't like that they're not testing this gap yet. So as we are getting oversold, we can continue. But guys, I just highly doubt that today's data, today's info was the reason. I just can't see that that's going to be the reason that we tumble down, you know, by, I think I'm seeing people post 50%. I just don't see it. Personally, I just don't. And maybe that's me. Maybe that's just something in my head, but I can't imagine that today's reasons for going down are going to be the reasons for this to go down 20 to 50%. I just can't. We're going to need more than that. So most likely we'll see some bounces. 626.82 to the upside, 611.68 to the downside. We see what? perfect little place here for resistance. Great, right as that gap starts to come into play. Great sellers in there, right? So what do we need to do here to turn up the 2-hour chart? We're doing this a little bit backwards. Well, we might want to come down that weekly expected move. But if you get a bounce here, people might get excited, and then you actually rotate down. And then potentially on Friday, by Friday, we could be setting up that divergence on the 30-minute. Now, this divergence on the 30-minute could make it so this 2-hour on this MACD for the Qs is able to turn up, and it still will be around that center line. So we will pay close attention to this over the next few trading sessions. That will be very, very important. We notice here that the Qs are in the similar boat to the SPY, being that they have a good confirmation with the price action, no confirmation with the MACD, and a confirmation on the RSI of these divergences on the Q's daily scale. So this is suggesting right now, I do not want to take it off of the table, that we could be experiencing the beginnings of the weekly pullback, where I think that if you didn't know, my overall sentiment towards this was, I'm going to keep playing it if it keeps giving me little trades here and there. But overall, I think eventually this thing will come all the way down to test something like 520. By the end of the year, maybe going into January, we'll see. We'll have to see how the market shapes up. But if it can do something funky here and catch itself, it's very hard to say that this market will go down during like Christmas season. I think that would be interesting, but we'll just keep our eye on the signals. As of right now, that would mean right now we need to see if the 2-hour can turn to the upside, and therefore we're looking for a 30-minute higher low. We are looking for a 30-minute divergence to tell us that that momentum is slowing down and that the 2-hour can curl up into positive territory again to set up a potential lower high or divergence. Still leaning towards a divergence, like we might go up into November OPEX. I'm still keeping that on the table at this point. We'll update you in the meantime. Okay, we do see here that volatility was able to do something that we actually discussed. And this is the crazy part about volatility. So volatility got so many things right over the last like month. Really, we've been just utilizing volatility very, very well, and we've got it almost spot on until just now, right? Volatility finally failed a signal. This will happen every once in a while. A signal will fail. You know, there's earnings and stuff like that. You always want to watch out for those times, any kind of data drop or earnings. But we did see the divergences here for your MACD and your RSI, if I can draw on it. And we did set up a multiple point divergence here. So we do still have that potential there. But if you notice, we're looking like we want to go for one more push here. So we're looking for this, or if we're going to see that major volatility and this is really going to be a reason to go down, well, then we should see no divergences here. We should see no lower high. Overall, what this should overall suggest is that we're going up to these type of levels, right? We're crossing through this area. I would like to see us get all the way through 21 personally, and then pull completely back to fake people out for a while, and then be able to curl back up into positive territory, right? We see this extension in positive territory. So really, if the 2-hour pulls back and the 2-hour goes to the upside, we should be crossing up what? The daily chart. The daily chart here is looking like it really wants to go to the upside. But if you were paying attention to volatility, then you know that volatility was what? Volatility was up by more than 10%, which means that volatility right now has told us, let's say it that way, volatility is telling us that there is an 85% chance for an up day for the SPY in the next 2 trading sessions. That's why I think it would be very, very interesting for the SPY to see an up day, maybe even tomorrow, creating that big like kind of bounce throughout the day. Then we kind of subside. We actually come down into these type of areas by Thursday. I think that would be very, very interesting. So I'm still leaving this on the table, and I'll leave it here for the end of the video. So as of right now, VIX is calling that there's an 85% chance for an up day in the next 2 trading sessions. Are we going to get it? We will have to see, but hopefully this information is helpful to you. I hope that you guys have a fantastic rest of your night, and I got to go coach some kids at soccer practice for fun here. So I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Peace out, and make sure to stay tuned to Patreon. Keep those notifications on in case I put any information out there during market hours tomorrow. All right, guys. Peace.